Like many of you, I have the Chase Sapphire Reserve. I've had it for a while and it's served me very well. But what if I told you there's a combination of three cards that, when working together, might actually be better than the Sapphire Reserve? Hi, everybody. DUGROZ here with DUGROZ Reports. On today's video, I'm going to do something of a stream of consciousness. I'm going to set up this new scenario where there's these three cards, and I'm going to show you how I get there. For the lack of a better term, I'm calling it the triple threat, and that is the Chase Aeroplan card, the Sapphire Preferred, and the Ritz-Carlton card. All right, does that sound interesting to you? Let's dive in. So I'm on the website Rich with Points. Go to richwithpoints.com. Big hat tip to Rich. The card comparison tool out there makes it really easy to see kind of a high-level overview of cards and what I have. So here on the screen right now, I have the Aeroplan card issued by Chase and the Chase Sapphire Reserve. These are the two Chase cards that I have that I think of as general travel cards. Now, for those of you who don't know, I will briefly mention the reason why I use the Aeroplan card is because it has a pay yourself back feature, kind of like a travel eraser. You can pay for travel with the card and then pay yourself back at a rate of 1.25 cents per point. Since Chase is a transfer partner of Aeroplan, you can transfer your Chase points over there. And in fact, the only points that you're supposed to pay yourself back with are points that originate either on Aeroplan itself or at Chase, and then wipe those out at that 1.25 threshold. And if you watch for a transfer bonus, you can even get 1.2 as a transfer bonus. You can get the 1.1 on top of that based on a baked-in bonus. Take my word for it. If you wait for the right transfer bonuses, you can functionally pay yourself back on the Aeroplan card at 1.625 cents per point. So that's why I have Aeroplan that is capped at 200,000 points a year, which would erase $2,500 in travel. My wife and I both have the Aeroplan card. Now, the Sapphire Reserve probably doesn't need an introduction, but we'll just scroll down and go over some of the high-level stuff. We're not worried about sign-up bonuses right now. We're going to just go over the ongoing features. So we're thinking of this as year 2 and beyond. Of course, with the Sapphire Reserve, you got a $550 annual fee. With the Aeroplan, you got a $95 annual fee. So by keeping this combo, I'm paying just under $650 a year. I'm not too concerned about the earnings for airline portal booking, nor am I concerned about all other, because I don't really do either of those. Dining, nothing special there. I've got other Chase cards like the Freedom Flex. You can get the Freedom Unlimited that also have 3x on dining. Same with fast food. The unlimited 3x on grocery with the Aeroplan card is a little bit interesting. Airfare, again, I'm not booking a lot of paid airfare, but if I did, I'd probably put over here on the Sapphire Reserve and get 3 points. I could book a car rental in the portal using the Sapphire Reserve, and that would be 10x. That's not that bad of an option. I don't do cruises. I rarely pay for hotels with cash. If I did, I would actually put it over here on the Aeroplan card and pay myself back. I'm not too worried about earning on hotels. I'm an intermittent traveler. I don't travel a ton, maybe 3 to 5 times a year, maybe 7 in a good year. And I should have said this earlier. I'm thinking about what's good for me. Hopefully what me thinking what's good for me helps you think about what's good for you. But I'm, crafting this towards myself. The Aeroplan card has secondary collision damage waiver with rental cars in the US. If you're outside your home country, it is primary. And it's primary with the CSR. There is the travel credit of $300, so we're going to take that annual fee of $550 down to a net annual fee of $250, and that's a big step in the right direction. I'm not going to worry about all these other ancillary things. Those aren't that important to me. I'm not going to worry about car rental status, etc. Now, obviously, the 1.5 point redemption in their portal is kind of a big deal to me. I'm not using the portal a ton, because generally I'm going to use the Aeroplan, but if there's times where I need to go above and beyond that 200,000 per year, maybe using the portal would be a good idea. But I don't go above and beyond very often. And since it's my wife and I, that'd be more than 400,000 points redeemed in sort of that general, not using transfer partner kind of way. We've got really good travel protections. Won't go into the details a lot on that, but you know, like you do have emergency and medical benefits. You have your emergency evacuation benefit, which you're only going to find on these tippity top level cards with Chase. So that's what that would look like. Now, one of the things I'm considering is which is better, the Sapphire Reserve or the Sapphire Preferred for a situation like what I'm in here. Let's just go ahead and look up the Sapphire Preferred. Before I go any further, I do want to take a second to mention that on this particular YouTube channel, I talk about finding epic value, including but not limited to credit card rewards for the average American. If that sounds interesting to you, please click the thumbs up button and please subscribe to this channel. In addition, if you are interested in any of the cards mentioned in this video, check the description down below. I do have links to those cards. Some, but not all of those, are refer a friend offer, and using them will help out my channel. Let's keep going. So I've added in the Sapphire Preferred here, and we're going to kind of use the assumption that I'm keeping the Aeroplan card, but we're going to do a little bit of a comparison. What's a better fit here, the Sapphire Preferred or the Sapphire Reserve? Well, scrolling on down, we have a big discrepancy in annual fee. Instead of paying $550 plus $95, I'm paying $95 plus $95, so only $190. So, you know, we're reducing more than $350 in annual fee. Yes, you do have that $300 travel credit, so it's really like $250 versus $95. So you're only saving around $150. I mean, that's still pretty significant. No changes on any of these areas. You do have the online grocery with the Sapphire Preferred, but if I'm going to do groceries, I'm probably going to be more likely to purchase in person, and I'll just use the Aeroplan card. This benefit might come in handy occasionally, but not a lot. I didn't even remember that the Sapphire Preferred had 3x on streaming. I guess that's kind of interesting. So yeah, in terms of other benefits, that 10% spending bonus isn't enough for me to even care about. You get the same collision damage rate waiver. You have that $50 travel hotel credit. I might or might not use that on the Sapphire Preferred. I'm not sure. Again, we'd be trading in the 1.5 for the 1.25 on the portal. How much portal redemption am I going to be doing? I don't know. I kind of need to think that over. Travel protections. Now, the travel protections aren't quite as good on the Sapphire Preferred. For example, there's no emergency evacuation over here. There's no emergency medical and dental over here. So that is kind of appealing to me. Those are the two insurances that I kind of feel like make the Sapphire Reserve worth paying for. Something else that I want to do is compare the Sapphire Reserve with the Ritz-Carlton card issued by Chase. Now, I won't state the obvious to you because if you're watching this channel, you probably already know the basics about the Ritz-Carlton card. It's not a card you can directly apply for. You have to get a different Marriott card, wait a year, then product change to it. So I've been thinking about going down the path to the Ritz-Carlton for quite a while, although I'm still at least a year away because I haven't got any personal Marriott cards yet. And here's why I think for an intermittent traveler like me who's not married to Marriott, it may actually still be worth doing. But let's go ahead and do our comparison here. These cards are actually kind of similar in a lot of ways. Now, I will say Rich with Points doesn't show every feature of the Ritz-Carlton card, probably because it's hard to pull information from the website because there's not a lot of information out there since it doesn't have current opening for new applicants. So there's a $450 fee instead of a $550 fee. So right away, I like the fact that I'm already saving $100 with the Ritz-Carlton card. I would not use my Ritz-Carlton card for purchases hardly at all. It would just be a benefits and status type card and protections, those kind of things. I would probably pay like a little bit of airfare, maybe taxes and fees, a little more than that, for the sake of insurance, etc. So I'm not going to worry about any of the earnings at all. Let's just keep on going down here because that's going to be kind of a moot point anyway. Now, it does come with one free night award up to 85,000 points after account anniversary each year. Since you're already at your first anniversary when you get it. You basically get to use it right away. Here's where it shows on the Ritz-Carlton site by Chase. Your free night award is valid for one night hotel stay at a property with a redemption level up to $85,000. And it does clarify you can top off your award with an additional $15,000. So we're talking up to 100,000 points, basically. Let's go back to our comparison here. The insurances aren't listed here, but they are the same. The insurances between the Ritz-Carlton and the Sapphire Reserve are functionally identical. Now, with lounge access, you would still have your Priority Pass Select membership. It would be exactly the same Priority Pass. It doesn't list Sapphire lounges over here, but we know that the Marriott Ritz-Carlton card gets access to the same Sapphire lounges that the Sapphire Reserve does, with one exception, and that is the terrace lounges. Right now, the only terrace Sapphire lounge is in Austin, Texas, which isn't a concern for me. I'm not flying out of or through Austin anyway, so that doesn't really apply. So I can still get into the Sapphire Reserve, or excuse me, Sapphire lounges if I went with the Ritz-Carlton card. You'll notice here the Sapphire Reserve charges $75 for each authorized user, whereas the Ritz-Carlton does not. And each authorized user can get their own Priority Pass Select membership. So the situation of my family of 4 being able to get all 4 people in, no concern whatsoever with the Ritz-Carlton card. Whereas with the Sapphire Reserve, I can only get in 2 extra people into the Priority Pass lounges as guests. I have a family of 4, so to solve that, I would have to get an authorized user card. So depending on whether or not I want lounge access, that could save me another $75. And then, like I said, the travel protections, even though they're not listed here, are exactly the same. I'm going to go back over to the card member site. So remember, we had that $450 annual fee. How do we offset that? Well, with the Ritz-Carlton card, you got to scroll down, click on high-level travel perks and advantages, and there will show you there's a $300 annual travel credit. We can use that credit for things like baggage fees, seat upgrades, lounge memberships, or passes, etc. And it says you're supposed to call after using your card. There's a truckload of data points out there that say you can also send a secure message to Chase to get that $300 applied. And there's a lot of data points out there, people saying, functionally, it's any travel, like, hotel stuff. You could pay taxes and fees. You could get a bus or a subway, and they will still apply. Now, obviously, this is something of a your mileage may vary situation, but I don't have a problem trying that out for myself. I think I would be okay with it. If you go to like the Hoover Dam and you use their parking lot and it codes as travel for, let's say, $30, you could use that towards the annual travel credit, hopefully, at least probably. So I feel like in some ways that actually fits me better. So let's break that down a little more. Let's just kind of do some thinking out loud about why maybe the Ritz-Carlton card is a better choice for me in particular. So instead of a $550 annual fee, we're getting a $450 annual fee. We get the same $300 offset, although the way you use it's a little different. So now the Ritz-Carlton card is down to $150 on the net. The Sapphire Reserve is only down to $250 on the net. Now, downside is I still have to have one of the cards with Chase that allows for transfer partners. So I would still have to have, like, let's say a CSP, a Sapphire Preferred. That kind of almost slots in there and makes up that $100 difference. So if we think about the fact that you have to get a CSP just for the privilege of having transfer partners, that slides in and offsets that $100 savings. So on the net, let's say we're at $250 in both situations. I realize there's a $5 difference, but for the sake of easy math, let's say we're at $250 left over. What do I get for that $250? The exact same travel protections. I get better earnings on the Sapphire Reserve, but I'll be honest, I almost never use my Sapphire Reserve for earnings. It's more for the perks, the benefits, the insurance, that kind of stuff. So that's no different. So what do I get with the other $250? Well, in the Ritz-Carlton card, I get that $85K free night certificate. I also don't have to pay for an extra authorized user. So in some ways, you could say Where are we at? We're at a $250 difference, take off $75. We're at like 175 because that's the amount that I would have to pay for the Sapphire Reserve's authorized user. So is that free night certificate of 85,000 a year worth $175? I kind of feel like it probably is, even though I'm not a Marriott guy. I'm pretty sure once a year I could find a pretty good use for that 85K certificate that I could top up to $100,000 if necessary, because I'll obviously be earning a little bit of points on my Ritz-Carlton card when I pay for my somewhat rare paid travel and those kind of things. What I would probably do is anytime I book award tickets, I would pay the taxes and fees on the Ritz-Carlton card. I know there's been some discussion lately about insurance and what applies where and those kind of things. Maybe I'm risking a little bit, but I would have to think like if you fell off a cliff in Puerto Rico and had to be medevaced out of there, boy, that's going to be some really bad publicity if Chase, through the Ritz-Carlton card, refuses to pay for it because you only paid for taxes and fees or something like that. If you have data points, feel free to put them down below. I do work in the world of insurance, so I'm willing to fight for my benefits if necessary, if that's something we need to take into consideration. Either way, I'm not better off with the Sapphire Reserve in that sense. The insurance either works on both or it doesn't work on both, because I'm not paying for my full $500 plane ticket on the Sapphire Reserve anyway. So that's kind of a moot point. So I think in my case, as kind of the intermittent traveler in that 3 to 7 decent sized trips a year range, this combination is actually pretty solid. It's pretty boss. You got your Aeroplan card for the paying yourself back up to 200,000 points a year. I've got my Sapphire Preferred, which for the most part is just the $100 fee for permission to use transfer partners with Chase. And then I've got my Ritz-Carlton card for the heavy hitter travel lifestyle insurance protection kind of card. Now, if you think about having a Sapphire Reserve alone, it's a $550 annual fee if you want to have an authorized user so that your spouse and 2 or more kids can also get into the Priority Pass lounges. You have to pay for that $75 authorized user fee. That takes you up to $625. So even if you offset the $300 travel credit, you're down to a net of $325. Now, yes, there are the DoorDash credits. I don't give those a lot of value. Maybe you do. That's up to you. But I'm not going to take that into consideration. So if I had just the CSR instead of this, I would be paying net $325 in annual fees. With this combination, we got $450, $95, and $95. And yeah, that together, that's $640. Now, what do we know we're getting to help offset that? We're getting the $300 in annual travel credits, things like airline incidentals, but we're hoping it can be more than that. And that takes it down to $340 on the net. So right now we got the CSR all by itself, $325 net. This combination, which I'll have to think of a good name for it, put suggestions down below, $340 net. And with that $340, I'm still getting the free night certificate once per year with Marriott, and the same insurance, the same travel protections, everything. The Ritz-Carlton card has free authorized users, so I can get my whole family into the lounge. I think you also get free guests. So in theory, I could just go into a lounge by myself and say, hey, next 12 people, come on in. So that's not even really a concern, but I could give my wife an AU card. So even if she's traveling by herself, she can get herself and the kids in. So let's just say hypothetically, I valued that free night certificate at $140, just to make the math work out nicely. So this triple threat combo nets out to $200. So now I'm ahead of just the Sapphire Reserve all by itself. If I value that free night certificate at $240 instead of $140, now I'm netting the whole thing out for just $100. So I feel like for just $100 in net annual fees, I'm getting quite a lot of stuff here. I've got the Aeroplan card. None of these are my primary earning cards, but at least I'm getting unlimited groceries, 3x if I toggle off the modifier, um, which is decent. And when I'm booking paid travel because I want to pay myself back, um, I'm not earning a lot, but at least I'm getting, 1x on whatever it is. That's better than nothing. To me, the ability to have points pay for travel is much more important than earning on paid travel. Unless my lifestyle changes dramatically in the near future, I'm never going to be doing enough paid travel where paid travel is a way that I earn points in any meaningful way. So I get all the pay yourself back goodness here. I have the Sapphire Preferred, which gives me permission to use transfer partners, and I can come in strong with the travel portal at 1.25 occasionally if needed. I've got all the travel protections and status perks and lounge access that I need through the Ritz-Carlton card. So this triple threat combo, I guess is what I'm calling it for this video, not a great name, I feel like comes out ahead. Now, the big downside is 1.25 in the portal with this combo as opposed to the CSR by itself, 1.5. So with that all in mind, where do you kind of put those things together? Well, in the last 2 years, I've only done a portal booking once, and it was to get home from New Orleans last Labor Day with the Creator Meetup. So I would be giving that up, but I'm not sure if I'm doing enough portal bookings since my wife and I both have an Aeroplan card to really, need to even worry about it. So again, this is for me. This may not apply to everyone, but I just don't think I'm going to be having the difference between 1.25 in the portal, 1.5 in the portal enough to really make it significant. I think you have to spend like 62,000 points a year, something like that, for just that one piece to break even. And the one flight I did was like a $200 flight. So, we're talking 15,000 points. I'm not even close to that threshold right now. Could I be in the future? Yeah. Am I scared of portal redemptions? No, I think it's okay from time to time, but I really like paying for things directly, which you can do with Aeroplan. Like, you charge a meal in the hotel restaurant to the room and then boom, pay yourself back with Aeroplan. Well, you can't do that in a portal. I can't book the local ferry or subway, in the Chase portal. So that's where the Aeroplan comes in handy. So this triple threat combo, Aeroplan, Sapphire Preferred, Ritz-Carlton, whatever you want to call that, it's looking kind of appealing to me. Tell me where my blind spots are, folks. I'm sure there's something I'm missing. Good, bad, indifferent, otherwise, I would love the feedback. Again, please subscribe to the channel, thumbs up, and as always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks for watching.